What if I told you there's a country with a higher GDP per capita than the United States? Higher than Germany, Japan, or even Switzerland? It's Ireland. Yes, the same Ireland that was once so poor. People called it Europe's beggar. The same country that lost half its population to famine and emigration. This is the insane story of how a tiny island went from economic disaster to tech paradise, and how it almost lost everything in the process. Picture Ireland in the 1980s. 20% unemployment, debt over 120% of GDP, and taxes so high they were literally stealing 60% of people's income. The British magazine The Economist called Ireland Europe's beggars. And they weren't joking. For decades after independence in 1921, Ireland was basically Britain's poor cousin. 70% of their exports still went to the UK. They couldn't survive without their former colonial master. Talk about awkward. It was so bad that in the 1950s, 400,000 people, that's like the entire population of Minneapolis, just packed up and left. Ireland was bleeding people faster than a sinking ship. The country was trapped in what economists call a poverty cycle. No investment meant no jobs. No jobs meant people left. Fewer people meant even less investment. Rinse and repeat. By the 1980s, Ireland looked like a failed state. Government officials were seriously worried about national bankruptcy. Some economists wondered if Ireland should just give up and rejoin the UK. Then something incredible happened. In 1987, Ireland elected a new prime minister who basically said, "Screw it, we're going all in on the biggest economic gamble in history." Here was the plan. Slash government spending, cut taxes for businesses, and bet everything on attracting foreign companies. It was like a tiny country deciding to compete with economic superpowers by playing a completely different game. The government cut corporate tax rates to just 10%, the lowest in Europe. They told multinational companies, "Move here, pay almost no taxes, and we'll throw in subsidies and skilled workers." It sounded insane. Critics called it economic suicide. How could a tiny island with 3.5 million people compete with giants like Germany and France? But then the magic started happening. Intel announced they were moving their European headquarters to Ireland in 1989. Then Microsoft came. Then Google. Then Apple, Amazon, Facebook. Basically every tech giant you've ever heard of. Why Ireland? 3 reasons: rock bottom taxes, English-speaking workforce, and here's the kicker: membership in the European Union. Companies could base themselves in Ireland and sell to 500 million Europeans with no trade barriers. It was like finding a legal cheat code for capitalism. What happened next was unprecedented in economic history. From 1995 to 2000, Ireland averaged 10% economic growth per year. 10%. That's China-level growth in a Western democracy. Unemployment crashed from 20% to under 4%. GDP per capita skyrocketed from $13,600 to $60,000 in just 7. American investment bankers started calling Ireland the Celtic Tiger, comparing it to Asia's economic miracles. The same British magazine that had mocked Ireland as beggars now called it Europe's shining light. Talk about eating your words. Ireland became so rich that Polish plumbers were moving there for better jobs. The country that had exported people for centuries was now importing workers. It was like watching economic science fiction become reality. By 2007, Ireland was officially one of the world's wealthiest countries per capita. The transformation was so dramatic it didn't seem real. And that was the problem. Remember that cheat code I mentioned? Well, cheat codes come with risks. Ireland's economy was like a house of cards built on foreign investment. When the 2008 financial crisis hit, those cards came tumbling down hard. The real estate bubble burst. Banks collapsed. Foreign companies started pulling out. Ireland's debt exploded to 500% of GDP overnight. Basically economic Armageddon. The Celtic tiger became a paper tiger, and Ireland had to do the walk of shame to the EU and IMF, begging for a bailout just like Greece. It was humiliating. The miracle economy had become a cautionary tale in just 1 year. But here's where the story gets really interesting. Instead of collapsing like Greece, Ireland did something remarkable. They took their medicine, cut government spending by 10%, slashed wages, and rebuilt their economy from scratch. By 2013, they were off life support. By 2019, GDP per capita hit $77,000, higher than the United States. Today in 2024, it's around $120,000, making Ireland one of the richest countries on earth. The secret? That same strategy that nearly destroyed them also saved them. When the global economy recovered, all those tech companies came flooding back. Ireland proved something incredible. A small country can punch way above its weight if it's willing to take massive risks and adapt faster than everyone else. But the story isn't over. Ireland's economy is still a house of cards, just a much prettier one. The next global crisis could knock it down again. The question is, can the Celtic tiger keep roaring? Or will it become a paper tiger once more? What other countries pulled off impossible economic transformations? Subscribe and let us know which economic miracle you want us to cover next.